Gloria Anderson was 64 years old, and if anyone had told her 5 years earlier that getting remarried would nearly cost her everything she had spent 3 decades building, she would have laughed. But that was exactly what happened. And the only reason Gloria still had her vineyard, her winery, and her freedom today was because when she married Joseph Damien, she made one critical decision. She never told him or his 3 adult children that the estate they lived on was not just family property. It was hers, all hers. Every acre, every vine, every bottle. Gloria Anderson, though most people simply called her Gloria, bought her first 5 acres in Soma Valley in 1989 when she was 34 years old. At the time, Gloria was a single mother working as a real estate agent, and people thought she was crazy, a woman on her own buying raw land in wine country. The bank nearly laughed her out of the office, but she had a vision, and more importantly, she had grit. She started small and planted her first Pinot Noir vines with her own hands. Gloria's daughter, Sonia, was 7, and she helped after school. Sonia's small fingers learned how to tie the vines to the posts. It took 3 years before those vines produced anything worth pressing. Those were 3 years of Gloria working her real estate job during the day and working the land every evening and weekend. 3 years of people in town taking bets on when she would give up and sell. But she did not give up. By 1995, Gloria had 15 acres planted and her first vintage bottled. By 2000, she expanded to 50 acres and opened a small tasting room. By 2010, Anderson Estate Winery was on the map, 75 acres of prime Soma Valley terroir, a beautiful stone winery building, a tasting room that seated 40, and wines that were being written about in Wine Spectator. Do you know what it takes for a single woman to build something like that? The 16-hour days. The bank loans she had to personally guarantee. The harvest seasons when Gloria was out there at 2 a.m. checking on the crush. The late payments she juggled to keep the lights on. Every single decision, every risk, every victory was hers. By the time Gloria was 60, Sonia had graduated from UC Davis with a degree in viticulture and was working at a winery in Napa. She did not want to take over the family business. Sonia wanted to make her own path, and Gloria respected that choice. By then, the estate had grown to 150 acres. The property was worth at least $8 million, probably more. Gloria was not extremely wealthy, but she was comfortable, secure, proud of what she had built, and lonely. Gloria's first husband, Clement, Sonia's father, left when Sonia was 3. She dated occasionally over the years, but nothing serious. Gloria had been too busy building her dream to focus on romance. But at 60, with Sonia living her own life and the business running smoothly with the help of her vineyard manager, Judith, Gloria found herself alone in the farmhouse. That was when Gloria met Joseph at a charity wine auction in San Francisco. He was 67, a retired investment banker, recently widowed, tall, silver-haired, and charming in that polished way that came from decades of expensive suits and country club memberships. Joseph bid on a case of her 2015 Reserve Pinot, and when he won, he walked over to introduce himself. "I've heard wonderful things about Anderson Estate," he said, shaking her hand. "I'd love to visit your tasting room sometime." Joseph visited the following weekend, then the weekend after that. By the 3rd visit, they were having dinner together. By the 6th month, they were talking about the future. Joseph was attentive and thoughtful. He brought Gloria first editions of books about winemaking. He planned romantic getaways to Carmel and Mendocino. He listened when she talked about the challenges of running a winery in an industry still dominated by men. He seemed fascinated by her success story. Looking back, Gloria could see exactly what she missed. But at the time, she was just a 60-year-old woman who had been alone for most of her adult life, falling in love. They got engaged after 8 months. Joseph proposed at sunset on the West Vineyard, the one with a view of the valley, with a ring that must have cost $20,000. Gloria said yes with tears in her eyes. That was when the questions started. Not from Joseph at first, but from his children. He had 3, Timothy, 42, who worked in finance like his father, Dorothy, 39, a real estate developer, and Samuel, 35, who worked in tech consulting. They all lived in the Bay Area, and Joseph was close with them. The first time they visited the estate, 2 weeks after the engagement, Dorothy walked through the farmhouse like she was conducting an appraisal. "How many acres is this property?" Dorothy asked. "What's the annual production? Who handles distribution? Do you have any business partners?" Gloria kept her answers vague. "It's a family operation," she said. "Everything's been in the Anderson name for over 30 years." Timothy wanted to know about financials. What kind of revenue does a boutique winery like this generate? What are your margins? How's the debt structured? Gloria smiled politely. "We do well enough," she said. "It's not really about the money for me. It's about the craft." Samuel asked about her will. He actually asked about her will since she and his father were getting married. He said it would be smart to get everything organized for tax purposes. Gloria was 60 years old and healthy. She looked at Joseph, waiting for him to tell Samuel. The question was inappropriate. But Joseph just squeezed her hand and said, "Samuel's right, darling. We should both make sure our affairs are in order. It's the responsible thing to do." Sonia flew up from Napa for the wedding. The night before, as they sat on the porch of the farmhouse drinking wine, Sonia said, "Mom, are you sure about this? His kids give me a weird feeling. They're just protective of their father." Gloria answered calmly, "He's all they have left since their mother died." "Yeah, but the way Dorothy was looking at the winery building, the tasting room, the barrels," Sonia said. "She was assessing value. I see that look all the time." Gloria waved it off. "You're being paranoid." "Did you get a prenup?" Sonia asked. "Mom, please tell me you got a prenup." She had. Gloria's attorney, Jenny Mills, whom she had known since her real estate days, insisted. Joseph seemed hurt when Gloria brought it up, but he signed without much fuss. The prenup was clear. Assets acquired before the marriage remained separate property. The estate, the winery, the business, all hers. What Gloria did not tell anyone, not Sonia, not Jenny, not even Joseph, was how she described the property to Joseph and his children. She lied, not a big lie, just a strategic omission. Gloria told them the estate was cooperative family property that had been in the Anderson name for generations. She implied there were other stakeholders. She made it sound like she was the manager and operator, not the sole owner. When they asked direct questions, Gloria deflected. She said it was complicated. She said there were family trusts involved. She said her attorney handled it. Was it dishonest? Maybe. But something in Gloria's gut told her to protect that information. Some instinct she developed over 30 years of fighting to build and keep her business warned her that Joseph's children seeing her as a wealthy widow with millions in real estate might not be a good thing. And she was right. The wedding was small and intimate. They got married at the estate, under an arch covered in grapevines. Sonia was her maid of honor. Joseph's 3 children stood as his attendants, all smiling and polite. Dorothy even hugged her and called her Mom, which should have felt sweet, but somehow felt performative. They did not go on a honeymoon. Harvest season was approaching, and Gloria could not leave Judith to handle it alone. Joseph said he understood. He moved into the farmhouse with his furniture, his books, and his golf clubs. They settled into married life. For the first year, it was good. Joseph seemed content to play golf at the club in Santa Rosa, host his children for Sunday dinners, and sit on the porch in the evenings with a glass of her wine, watching the sun set over the vines. He did not interfere with the business. He did not ask many questions. He was simply there, offering companionship. But in the second year, things shifted. It started with Timothy. He came to visit alone one Saturday and asked if he could look at the books for the winery, just from a financial planning perspective. "Dad mentioned you might want to expand distribution, and I have some connections in that world." Gloria had never mentioned wanting to expand distribution. "Thanks, Timothy," she said calmly. "But Judith and I have the business side handled. We're happy with our current distributors." His smile did not reach his eyes. "You know, Gloria, you're family now. We want to help. That's what families do." Then Dorothy started showing up with real estate agents, asking to have the property appraised. She said it was for insurance purposes. "You're probably underinsured," Dorothy said. "With climate change affecting California, fire insurance is crucial." Gloria already had excellent insurance and told her so. "But have you had the land appraised recently?" Dorothy asked. Comparable properties in Soma are going for 12, even $15 million. You should know what you're sitting on. Gloria asked her to leave. Samuel was subtler. He came over for dinner and casually talked about his tech consulting work. Then he would say things like, "A lot of wineries are moving into e-commerce and direct-to-consumer sales. I could help you build out a platform. Family discount, of course." Gloria already had a website. She already did direct sales. But the most disturbing changes came from Joseph. He started asking her to sign things. "Just updating my life insurance beneficiaries," he said, sliding forms across the kitchen table. Standard stuff. Gloria read every word. Many of the documents had nothing to do with life insurance. They were financial powers of attorney, property transfer authorizations, papers that would give him legal authority over her accounts. "Joseph, I'm not signing this," she said more than once. "Why not?" he asked. "Don't you trust me? We're married, Gloria." "It's not about trust," she replied. "I'm not signing documents I don't fully understand." Joseph would grow cold and distant, sometimes refusing to speak to her for days. Then came the phone calls. Gloria noticed he took calls outside, walking between the vine rows where she could not hear. When she asked who it was, he said, "Just Timothy," or "Just Dorothy," or "Nobody important." 3 years into the marriage, Gloria came home from a meeting with her distributor in San Francisco and found Joseph, Timothy, and Dorothy inside her office in the winery building. Her filing cabinet was open. Papers were spread across her desk. "What are you doing?" she asked. They jumped as if caught. Dorothy quickly gathered papers. Timothy closed the filing cabinet. Joseph smiled, that smooth, practiced smile. "We were just looking for the insurance papers, darling." Dorothy nodded. "We really should update your policy." "Those are private business documents," Gloria said firmly. "You had no right to be in here." "Gloria, I'm your husband," Joseph replied. "We don't keep secrets in a marriage." That night, she called Jenny Mills. "I think something's wrong," Gloria said. "I need you to run a property check on my estate. Make sure everything is still in my name." "Gloria, what's going on?" Jenny asked. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I have a bad feeling." Jenny called back 3 days later. Her voice was tight. "Gloria, someone has been filing documents with the county, transfer deeds, partnership agreements, papers that would give Joseph and his children ownership stakes in Anderson Estate Winery." Gloria's blood went cold. "What? How is that possible? I never signed anything like that." "The signatures look like yours," Jenny said. "But these are forgeries, obvious forgeries once you compare them to your real signature. Whoever did this wasn't even good at it." "Can they do that?" Gloria asked. "Can they just file fake documents?" "They can file them. Whether they hold up in court is another matter. But Gloria, this is serious. This is fraud. This is a crime." She felt sick. Gloria sat on the porch steps, phone pressed to her ear, staring at the vines she had planted with her own hands 30 years earlier. "What do I do?" "We need to file a police report," Jenny said. "We need an injunction. And Gloria, you need to confront Joseph." But she did not confront him yet. Instead, Gloria made another call. She contacted an old friend, a private investigator named Lucas James, whom she had worked with during her real estate days. "Lucas, I need you to look into someone for me," she said. "Joseph Damien. Everything. Financial history, criminal record, and especially his first wife, how she died and what happened to her estate." It took Lucas 2 weeks. When he came back, the file was 3 inches thick. Joseph's first wife, Teresa, had died 4 years earlier. 6 months before her death, she transferred her entire estate, including a $4 million home in Pacific Heights and all investment accounts, into Joseph's name. She had early onset Alzheimer's. Teresa's sister, Rita, tried to contest the transfer, claiming Joseph took advantage of Teresa's diminished mental state. But Joseph had documents, power of attorney papers, all signed. The case was settled out of court. Rita received a small payout. Joseph kept everything. There was more. Timothy had been sued by a former business partner for financial fraud. Dorothy had lost her real estate license in Oregon over ethical violations. Samuel had been fired from 2 consulting firms for undisclosed reasons. Lucas looked at Gloria across the coffee shop table. "This is a family of grifters," he said. "They've done this before. They're doing it again with you." Gloria struggled to breathe. "What do I do?" "You get out," Lucas said. "You divorce him. You press charges, you protect yourself. But Gloria knew one thing. She had spent 30 years building Anderson Estate. These people thought they could walk in, forge papers, and steal what she had created. She was not just going to protect herself. She was going to make sure they could never do this to anyone else again. Gloria went back to Jenny Mills. She told her she wanted to build a case, a real case, not just for divorce, but for fraud, attempted theft, and forgery. She wanted criminal charges, all of them. Jenny looked at her carefully. "Gloria, that's going to be ugly," Jenny said. "That's going to be public. Your winery's reputation. My winery's reputation is based on the quality of my wine and the integrity of my name," Gloria replied. "These people tried to steal from me. I want everyone to know it." They built the case methodically. Jenny brought in a forensic accountant who went through every financial record, every filing, and every document. They found more forged signatures. They uncovered email chains between Timothy and Dorothy discussing how to extract maximum value from the estate. They found text messages from Joseph to his children, planning how to manage Gloria. They also discovered something else. Joseph had not done this only to his first wife. Before Theresa, there had been another wife named Eunice. Eunice died after a fall at her vacation home. Shortly before her death, she had transferred her property to Joseph. Her adult children tried to contest it, but were blocked by the same attorneys Joseph used in Theresa's case. 2 dead wives, 2 estates transferred shortly before death, and now a third wife, Gloria, whose property they were trying to take. She was not dying. She was not sick. Gloria was healthy, sharp, and 64 years old. But if she had been just a little more trusting, a little less careful, no one could say what might have happened. Jenny filed all the documents with the district attorney. There was enough evidence for criminal fraud charges against Timothy and Dorothy. For Joseph, they were building a case for elder abuse, fraud, and conspiracy. But before any of it went public, Gloria wanted her confrontation. She planned it carefully. Gloria told Joseph she wanted a family dinner to celebrate their 3-year anniversary. She invited all of his children, Sonia, and a few friends. Joseph was thrilled. He thought she had finally accepted his idea of family. The dinner was set for a Saturday evening at the estate. Gloria asked Judith to help arrange tables on the patio overlooking the vines. She hired a caterer and made sure her best wines were poured. Joseph, Timothy, Dorothy, and Samuel arrived dressed in their best, smiling. Sonia arrived with her boyfriend, giving Gloria a questioning look. Gloria had warned her earlier, and Sonia was barely holding herself together. Then the other guests arrived. Jenny Mills, her attorney, Lucas James, her private investigator, Detective Mary Jonathan from the Soma County Sheriff's Office, and 2 more people Joseph did not expect, Theresa's sister Rita, Eunice's daughter Lucy. Joseph's face went white when he saw them step onto the patio. "What is this?" he asked. "This is a family dinner," Gloria said calmly. "And these people are family too. Rita is your late wife Theresa's sister. Lucy is your late wife Eunice's daughter. I thought it was time we all got to know each other." Timothy stood up. "This is ridiculous. We're leaving." "Sit down, Timothy." Detective Mary Jonathan said, "You're not going anywhere." Dorothy looked like she was about to be sick. Gloria stood at the head of the table with a glass of her 2018 reserve in her hand, looking at each of them. "Did you really think I wouldn't find out?" she asked. "Did you honestly believe you could forge documents, file fake transfer papers, and I wouldn't notice?" Joseph tried to deflect. "Gloria, I don't know what you think." "I think you and your children are thieves," she said. "I think you've done this twice before. Theresa and Eunice transferred their estates to you right before they died." "How convenient." "Those were legitimate transfers," Joseph said. "They wanted me to have everything." "They had Alzheimer's and a traumatic brain injury," Gloria replied. "They could not consent. You manipulated them." Rita spoke next, her voice shaking. "He forged my sister's signature. I've been saying it for years." Lucy added, "My mother was terrified of him at the end. She told me she didn't want to sign anything, but he kept bringing papers to the hospital." Gloria looked at Joseph, then at Timothy, Dorothy, and Samuel. "You thought I was just another older woman you could rob," she said. "But here's what you didn't know. I built this estate from nothing. I fought banks, droughts, fires, recessions, and an industry that didn't want women at the table. Do you really think I wouldn't fight you?" Jenny stepped forward and placed a folder on the table. "These are the forged documents you filed with the county," Jenny said. "They've been analyzed. The signatures are fake. We also have your email chains discussing the fraud and statements from previous victims." Detective Mary Jonathan spoke clearly. "Joseph Damien, Timothy Damien, Dorothy Damien, you are under arrest for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy to commit theft." The next hour was chaos, handcuffs, Samuel claiming he knew nothing and blaming his siblings, Dorothy crying, Timothy threatening lawsuits, Joseph silent, staring at Gloria with pure hatred. As they were being led to the police cars, Joseph finally spoke. "You're vindictive," he said. "I loved you." Gloria stepped close enough that only he could hear. "No, you didn't," she said quietly. "You loved my property, but it was never yours. Every vine, every bottle, every acre. I bought it, I built it, I earned it, and you couldn't take it from me because I knew exactly what I had." Joseph was taken away. The criminal case took 8 months. Timothy and Dorothy pleaded guilty to fraud and forgery in exchange for reduced sentences. They each received 2 years. Joseph went to trial and was convicted of elder abuse, fraud, and conspiracy. After further investigation into Theresa's and Eunice's deaths, 2 counts of suspicious circumstances were added. Joseph received 12 years at 67, essentially a life sentence. The divorce was finalized 3 months after the arrests. The prenup held. Joseph received nothing. His legal fees ruined him financially. Samuel, who cooperated with prosecutors, received probation and testified against his father and siblings. Today, Gloria is 69 years old. Anderson Estate Winery is thriving. Sonia decided to return and work with her. Watching her mother fight for what was hers changed something in her. Judith is still the vineyard manager and recently celebrated 20 years with the estate. Gloria never remarried. She does not plan to. She tells this story often, especially to women, especially to older women, and especially to women who built something with their own hands. When Gloria married at 60, she made a choice not to tell her husband or his children that the estate was solely hers. She let them believe it was family property or something complicated. Some people say she should have trusted Joseph, but Gloria learned that protecting yourself is not about distrust. It is about understanding that the person you love today may not be the person you face tomorrow. She still makes wine. She still walks the vineyard rows at sunset, touching the vines she planted 30 years ago. She still tastes every vintage and makes every blending decision. Now, when people ask about the property, Gloria tells them the truth. "This is my estate," she says. "I bought it, I built it, I own it." And then she smiles, and it's going to stay that way.